All right, welcome to the show. Today I'm covering multiple topics. Blackstone, the investment group, buys Safe Harbor Marinas. There was a major fire at the Imperial Yacht Club up in New York. It destroyed 7 boats. And what is to come of the SS United States, the fastest ocean liner in the world? What's going to happen to it? So our first topic today is Blackstone buys Safe Harbor Marinas. What this means for boaters. Private equity giant Blackstone has acquired Safe Harbor Marinas. If you're a boat owner, frequent marina goer, or just someone who loves the boating lifestyle, this could affect you in ways you might not expect. So let's break it all down and figure out what this really means. Let's start with the basics. Blackstone, one of the largest and most powerful private equity firms in the world, has just acquired Safe Harbor Marinas. If you're not familiar, Safe Harbor Marinas is the biggest owner and operator of marinas in the United States, with more than 100 locations spread across the country. That's a pretty massive footprint in the boating world. Now, Blackstone is known for making bold moves in industries ranging from hospitality and real estate to infrastructure, and now they're adding marinas to their portfolio. This isn't just another acquisition. It could fundamentally reshape how marinas operate nationwide. So who is Blackstone? Let's talk about Blackstone a little bit more. Founded in 1985, Blackstone is one of the biggest players in the private equity world. They specialize in high-stakes investments, particularly in real estate and infrastructure, and financial services. In fact, Blackstone's portfolio includes everything from luxury hotels to major warehouse chains to some of the world's most sought-after real estate. They're known for their ability to take large companies, streamline operations, and then push them to the next level of profitability. And now they've turned their attention to marinas. The big question is, why marinas, and how will their involvement affect us boaters? Well, there are a few potential outcomes that could affect all of us. Number one, improvements and upgrades. Blackstone has a lot of financial muscle, so expect to see some serious investment at Safe Harbor Marinas. This could mean better facilities, upgraded docks, and more high-end amenities for the boaters. We're talking things like brand new state-of-the-art docks, improved security features, and maybe even tech innovations like digital check-ins and boat tracking systems. If you like the idea of marina experiences that feel more like luxury resorts, this is probably great news for you. On the other hand, number two, we could see some price increases. With luxury comes price, kind of hand in hand there. So private equity firms are all about maximizing profits. They're experts in turning around companies, making them more profitable, and sometimes that means raising prices. You could see increases in slip fees, membership costs, and charges for services like boat repairs, fueling, and storage. If you're someone who keeps an eye on your budget, this could be a little concerning, especially if you're used to affordable marina rates at your local marina. More corporate control. Historically, Safe Harbor Marinas has been known for its boater-focused approach. But with Blackstone calling the shots, that focus might shift more towards maximizing financial returns. That means decisions could prioritize corporate goals and profit margins over the needs and want of individual boaters. For those who love the laid-back community vibe of their favorite marina, this shift could be a tough pill to swallow. Now let's get to the big question. Is this takeover a good thing, a bad thing, or somewhere in between? On one hand, corporate involvement can lead to huge improvements. If Blackstone uses its resources to upgrade facilities, expand services, and make marinas more accessible or even more luxurious, then this could be a win for boaters who want a top-tier experience. But, and this is a big but, there's always a risk of Blackstone's primary focus will be profit. If they increase fees and start focusing less on community aspects of marinas, we might see a divide where only the wealthier boaters can afford to dock their vessels at these upgraded marinas. This could lead to smaller independent marinas being more appealing to those who want to avoid the corporate feel of a place that's focused on profits rather than people. Another important question is, what does Blackstone's acquisition mean for the future of marinas as a whole? We could see a trend where larger, more luxurious marinas start to dominate, attracting boaters who are willing to pay for the premium services. At the same time, this might drive smaller boaters towards smaller independent marinas that offer more personalized services and a sense of community. If independent marinas can keep up with the demand for quality and service, they may become more popular as boaters seek alternatives to the corporate giants. Another interesting dynamic could be the impact of boating culture. If corporate control increases, we might lose that personal touch that marina owners bring to the table. Family-run feel could become a thing of the past at some marinas, and that's something to keep in mind if you value the close-knit, friendly atmosphere of smaller operations. So what do you think? Will Blackstone's takeover bring exciting upgrades and improvements? Are we looking at the future where marinas become more expensive and corporate? The truth is, we're in a wait and see phase right now, but it's important to keep an eye on how things develop. If Blackstone's involvement means better facilities and services, that's a great thing. But if it starts to price out regular boaters or changing the community vibe, we could see a shift in the entire marina landscape. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think this will be a game changer for boating or just another corporate cash grab? In the early morning darkness of February 22nd, 2025, a sudden blaze shattered the quiet New Rochelle's Imperial Yacht Club. At around 12:45 a.m., flames erupted among the docked boats, rapidly engulfing the marina. Thick black smoke billowed across the Davenport Neck as multiple 911 calls poured in, alerting firefighters and neighbors alike to the unfolding disaster. Neighbors reported hearing what sounded like an explosion echo across the water as the fire roared to life, instantly igniting boat after boat in a chain reaction. Within minutes, several yachts were ablaze, turning the night sky a fiery orange and threatening to spread to nearby homes and buildings on the shoreline. It was a scene of chaos and urgency, one that veteran marina workers say they had never witnessed before. Another man who had been sleeping on board his boat recounted being jolted awake by a thunderous boom, only to step outside to an apocalyptic glow.
It blasted, sounded like a lightning hitting, you know, and I didn't know. And when I came out, I was like, oh God, because I was really shook because there's always people in that boat. You know, there's always people living in that boat. Lucky they were in Florida.
New Rochelle's firefighters raced to the scene within minutes, finding an unprecedented challenge awaiting them. Initial crews maneuvered their engines down narrow waterfront lanes, only to realize they needed a better angle on the flames. They quickly repositioned to Town Dock Road across the channel from the yacht club, a vantage point that let them direct powerful streams of water onto the burning boats. Upon arrival, multiple vessels were already burning intensely, some having broken from their moorings. Fire Chief Andrew Sander later noted that as the ropes holding the boats burned through, the wind and tide sent the flaming vessels drifting across the marina. Firefighters suddenly found themselves chasing moving targets, boats ablaze and floating freely. A nightmare scenario in the marina fire. Battling the inferno from land and sea, the New Rochelle Fire Department threw everything they had at the flames. Engines on shore aimed the hoses at docks, while fire boats were deployed on the water, drenching the burning hulks at close range. Fire crews fought in the bitter cold. Temperatures were well below freezing, causing gear to stiffen and water to spray to mist as black as ice. Despite the frigid conditions, they pressed on. Their primary objective: stop the fire spread. With some boats moored barely 2 or 3 feet apart, even the radiant heat alone threatened to ignite adjacent vessels. For over 2 hours, the marina looked like a war zone, towering flames consuming the fiberglass and wood. Fuel tanks hissed, and the air was filled with acrid smoke. At one point, several boats drifted to the yacht club's fuel docks and other moorings, raising fears that an even greater catastrophe could happen. But the coordinated assault paid off. By 3 a.m., after an all-out effort, the major flames had been knocked down and the inferno was under control. By dawn, a toll of the inferno was starkly visible. Burned-out hulls smoldered in the morning light, half sunken at their slips or adrift in the marina. And all 7 boats were reduced to charred ruins, skeletons of what had been luxury yachts and leisure vessels just hours before. The combined value of the lost vessels is hard to fathom. Such yachts can cost hundreds of thousands or not, if not millions of dollars, meaning the entire fire will likely cause millions of dollars in damage, when factoring in the boats, the docks, the equipment destroyed. The Imperial Yacht Club now looked like a disaster zone with twisted metal and blackened debris bobbing in the water. As soon as they could, orange containment booms were deployed to trap the spilled fuel. With the fire extinguished, efforts shifted to salvaging what remained. Several boats had sunk or were barely afloat, and by Sunday, a large crane and barge were brought in to begin lifting wrecks out of the water. Even as cleanup continued, fire investigators combed through the debris looking for clues as how this inferno started. Burn patterns, electrical systems, and fuel lines were scrutinized amid the twisted remains of the boats. The cause of the blaze remains under active investigation. What is known is that the fire started on or around one yacht and spread with terrifying speed. Beyond that, the exact spark that ignited this nightmare is still a matter of forensics to work and analyze. Thanks to the aggressive firefighting effort, the majority of the boats in the marina were saved from harm, an outcome that has many expressing gratitude to the New Rochelle's bravest. There were no fatalities and only 2 people were injured. In conclusion, the Imperial Yacht Club Inferno of February 2025 will be remembered in New Rochelle for many years to come, a night of destruction and heroism that tested the community's mettle. In the span of a few hours, a serene harbor was transformed into an unwelcome inferno. 7 boats were lost, dozens more were saved, and the 2 lives were pulled from danger in the nick of time. The year is 1952. A colossal new ocean liner, the SS United States, rockets across the Atlantic, shattering the speed records and capturing the world's imagination. Once the epitome of American engineering and luxury, this ship, dubbed America's flagship, now sits silent and fading, her future hanging in the balance. This is the dramatic tale of the SS United States, from her historic triumphs to her decades of uncertainty and the heated debate over what comes next. In the aftermath of World War II, naval architect William Francis Gibbs set out to build the fastest, safest ocean liner ever, a vessel that could double as a top-secret weapon in wartime. The result was the SS United States. Constructed from 1950 to 1952, with the funding quietly backed by the U.S. Navy, at 990 feet long, she was a behemoth of aluminum and steel designed to outrun and outlast anything afloat. In July 1952, her maiden voyage, the SS United States smashed the transatlantic speed record, earning the coveted Blue Ribbon with an average speed of over 35 knots. This made her the fastest ocean liner in the world, a title she still technically holds today. The U.S. government ensured the ship can be converted to a troop ship within 48 hours, capable of ferrying 15,000 soldiers to war if needed. Thankfully, she never saw combat. But this military-ready engineering gave Americans pride and peace of mind whenever they watched her depart New York Harbor under the stars and stripes. For 17 years, the SS United States was a floating palace of American mid-century glamour. From 1952 until 1969, she carried immigrants, tourists, the era's biggest celebrities across the Atlantic in style. The ship's passenger list led like a who's who of the 1950s and 1960s. Hollywood royalty like Marilyn Monroe and Judy Garland, icons of music including Duke Ellington, who even performed on board, and Salvador Dali. Legend of the screen like Cary Grant and Disney himself, Walt Disney, who set part of his 1962 film Bon Voyage on the ship. It's little wonder the SS United States became a cultural icon, earning the nickname America's flagship. But the height of ocean liner glamour was short-lived. By the late 1950s, the jet airliners like the Boeing 707 began shrinking the world. Suddenly, what took the SS United States 3.5 days at sea could be done in 8 hours by plane. Transatlantic travel was undergoing a revolution, and even the Big U, as the ship was affectionately known, could not escape the changing tides. By the mid-1960s, passenger bookings on ocean liners plummeted as flying became the preferred mode of crossing the Atlantic. The SS United States, despite her fame and speed, often sailed below capacity in later voyages. In November 1969, with little warning, the ship's owners announced her withdrawal from service. After her final voyage that year, the once triumphant liner was abruptly laid up, ending her career after only 17 years. She had never been defeated by a rival ship, only by the march of technology. Yet there was no grand retirement plan or museum berth waiting for her. The world's fastest ocean liner simply stopped. And so began a new, far less glamorous chapter, decades of uncertainty and decay. For more than 50 years after her retirement, the SS United States drifted through a purgatory of changing owners, failed plans, and close calls with the scrapyard. Stripped of her purpose, she became a ghost ship, and yet she refused to die. Over the years, numerous rescue plans emerged and faded. In the 1970s and 80s, she was moored unused in Norfolk. The idle ship changed hands as investors struggled to find a use. In 1984, her fittings and artwork were auctioned off, and by 1994, all remaining interiors were stripped to the steel bulkheads during asbestos removal. Little remained inside beyond the empty halls and bare metal. In 1996, the gutted ship was towed to Philadelphia and put up for sale at auction. For the next 2 decades, she sat at a pier on the Delaware River, an immense silent relic looming over the waterfront. In 2003, a Norwegian cruise line purchased the SS United States, contemplating her return to service under the U.S. flag. Hopes were high. A technical study even found that the hull was structurally sound, but the project stalled as costs mounted. In 2009, Norwegian Cruise Line was paying $800,000 a year just to dock and maintain the ship and abandon its plans. They quietly solicited bids to scrap the liner for steel, bringing the SS United States to the brink of destruction. 2011, at the 11th hour, a preservation group called the SS United States Conservancy raised donations to buy the ship, staving off the scrapyard. The ship was saved for the moment. The Conservancy sought partners to redevelop the vessel. Ideas ranged from a museum to a hotel and restaurant, but despite the widespread public interest, no investor arrived. By 2024, meanwhile, the ship's very home was at risk. The Philadelphia Pier's owners doubled the dock rent and eventually terminated the berth lease, pressing for the ship's removal. A court order in mid-2024 set a firm deadline to remove the SS United States or else, effectively forcing the Conservancy to find a buyer or see the vessel seized. After nearly 3 decades of gathering dust at Pier 82 in Philadelphia, the ship was finally compelled to move. In early 2025, tugs nudged the SS United States away from the only home she'd known since 1996, as onlookers lined the river to bid farewell. She arrived in Mobile, Alabama in March 2025 to undergo final preparation for an uncertain fate. Today, the ship is a ghost of her former self. Conservation teams and engineers are now on board in Mobile, not to restore her to her former glory, but to painstakingly remove environmental hazards from her 70-year-old carcass. Fuel, oil, asbestos must be cleared in a careful process, taking months. The reason? The ship is being readied for what is likely her final voyage, not carrying glamorous passengers, but being towed to her final resting place. After years of deadlock, the fate of the SS United States appears to finally be taking shape. In late 2024, a proposal emerged to sink the ship as the world's largest artificial reef off the coast of Florida. Facing no viable alternative and a court-ordered eviction, the Conservancy made the painful decision to sell the vessel to the Okaloosa County, Florida, for this purpose. The plan is bold and bittersweet. Tow the ship into the Gulf of Mexico and then scuttle her in the deep ocean, where she will become an underwater habitat for marine life and a diving attraction. If carried out, the mighty SS United States will slip beneath the waves by design, not as a shipwreck tragedy, but as a deliberate second life on the seafloor. Even the Conservancy conceded that if forced, sinking as a reef would be preferable to the scrapyard. This will see the ship lost as a surface vessel, but not entirely destroyed. As a reef, the SS United States will become a haven for marine life and attraction for divers and fishermen, potentially generating tourism dollars. It's a creative way to give the hull a new purpose. The supporters say it offers dignity and a burial at sea, rather than seeing the ship cut into pieces. Before any of that happens, environmental remediation in Mobile must be completed to ensure the vessel won't pollute the ocean. This is expected to take months. But even as preparations are underway, controversy rages. A group of preservationists calling themselves the New York Coalition to Save the SS United States has filed a federal lawsuit to halt the sinking. They argue, as a nationally recognized historic landmark, the ship must be saved and restored, not submerged. This coalition has even appealed to the White House for intervention. As of now, the clock is ticking. Legal battles and last-ditch proposals aside, the SS United States' final voyage toward a reef deployment could happen within months. Tugs will guide her to a precise spot in the Gulf, and with a controlled series of charges, the great ocean liner will slip beneath the surface, coming to rest upright in the sand. It would be a carefully managed sinking designed to allow divers to one day swim along her promenade decks and marine life to colonize her once bustling hulls. It's a poetic, if melancholy, end. The ocean liner that conquered the seas, returning to the sea forever. So thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Leave us a comment below on what you'd like to see next. And I'm trying to make this a thing, so please support the channel. If you want to help out even more, you can join the Sailing Doodles Navy for only a few dollars a month. You get early access and you get bonus content from all my other channels. So thank you guys, and we'll see you.